didn't see you there. You know, now that I'm done with my first year of teaching and I can actually afford things, I've been able to purchase my holy grail of manga, the manga series that I couldn't afford before, that being Pluto, which is based on one of the most famous Astro Boy story, that of the greatest robot on Earth. I think I got the first volume in the mail. Really, really excited to finally get this series. It's just been so long.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Hello, I'm back at it again, and this time it's only been 2 months, not 3 months like past episodes have been. So pretty excited to share what manga I've got. I collected a lot in these past 2 months, so let's go ahead and get started. First up with Attack on Titan, Volume 24, and how do I put this the right way? I don't want to sound sour, but Attack on Titan's been great lately, but it's not really been something I've been all that excited about. I feel like we've gotten most of the answers to this world already, and I kind of just want the series to end at this point. I know that sounds like odd, but I'm like, all right, let's get on with this. This development is interesting, but come on, let's get to it. I don't want to be super specific with what I'm talking about, but those who are current with the manga, you kind of know what I'm talking about. Yes, there have been character deaths, which have been really sad, but I mean, I'm just kind of at this point, I'm like, let's get it done. That being said, though, Attack on Titan is Attack on Titan. If you've liked it so far, you're still going to like Volume 24. And in particular, I really, really like this volume cover. I mean, oh gosh, it's beautiful. And when are we going to see Annie again? I mean, this is like, oh my gosh, this just teases me because I want Annie to come back so bad, and we haven't seen her. Where is she? Next, we got Blood Blockade Battlefront number 9, and finally Leo is featured on a cover despite him being the main character. So, as I've mentioned in past videos, Blood Blockade Battlefront is this crazy manga. Just as a warning though, there's no overarching plot. It's mostly just episodic stories. If you like Trigun, this is definitely something for you, but don't go into it expecting some huge dramatic plot. It's more of a supernatural comedy. Next, we got The Bride Was a Boy, and whew, is this a spicy manga? So this manga is, well, as the title suggests, about a trans girl, so a girl who transitioned, who was born biologically as a man, transitioned to being a girl, and then married a cisgender man, and made this adorable manga. Really just altogether, if I was going to describe this in one word, it would be adorable. This manga has been praised for giving light to trans issues, for being informative about what it means to be a trans person and what issues a person may go through in that sort of lifestyle. To me, I just think it's cute. If I'm going to give any negative points to this manga, it's that this author uses a pseudonym, so I tried doing some research about who this person was online. I couldn't find anything. And so, I mean, that's kind of a downside that, yes, this is a real life example of a trans person having this awesome life, but I don't know who this person really is. And then another thing is that there's this whole chapter which talks about Japanese legality regarding trans people, which I get in Japan. Obviously, this is really, really, important. But like, if I was going to introduce someone here in the States to like, trans issues and that kind of stuff, I might not use this book just because that chapter is just relevant in the States. But really, I mean, I'm just nitpicking here. Please understand. Otherwise, this was a really cute manga. I really enjoyed it. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, you can't go wrong with this one. Next, we got Cardcaptor Sakura, the Cleared Card Arc, Volume 3. Yeah, it's still awesome. I'm looking for the clamp slump. I'm looking for the story to crash. So far, it hasn't. The art's beautiful. If you like Cardcaptor Sakura, this is definitely something you want to get into. Even if it's been like years since you've watched the anime, definitely I recommend reading the original manga and then getting into this. It's been beautiful so far. Next up, we got Dead Demons Destruction. I think that's how you say that. This manga title is ridiculous, and so is this manga. However, if I was going to recommend anything on this table, this would be like one of the 3 series that I would say is a must pick up. Now, just as a warning, don't let the cutesy art style fool you. This is definitely for adults. It is about high school girls. but it's a very serious manga. If you've read anything by Asano, he was the author of Solanin, Goodnight Poon Poon. This is the same guy. This one is a lot more lighthearted than some of his other series. In fact, it's my favorite of his series. But just be careful going into it. There's a lot of violence. There is a lot of mature stuff. But yeah, overall, the art is fantastic. And it really, oddly enough, is super political without being obnoxious about it. And I don't really want to say why. Just kind of go into it with an open mindset, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. Next up, we got Frau Faust, and this was actually a recommendation by the user Dristan Macadam. I can't say your name, but awesome recommendation. Frau Faust is by the same author of The Ancient Magus's Bride, and this is a good manga. At least I've been enjoying it. It's really fascinating. Basically, it addresses every single problem I had with Ancient Magus's Bride, in that I didn't think the main character was all that interesting. I thought the world was awesome, but I was like, main character's really not that much to write home about, but Frau Faust is amazing. She is a really, really strong character. She still has like that supernatural romance thing, this time with the famous demon that the actual character Faust summons. But I think, and this is just my theory, I think it's literally because Faust was written so well that this manga was not as successful as Ancient Magus's Bride. And what I mean by this is that there's actually a theory about Twilight and Ancient Magus's Bride and stories like that the blander your main character is, the more successful it is, because the readers can then put their personalities into that main character. Faust is her own lady, and you ain't putting your personality into her. She is definitely take charge, she is ambitious, she's strong, she's charismatic, and I think because of that, because she wasn't bland, I think this manga didn't do as well as it could have, oddly enough. The story I think is awesome though, and I'm really looking forward to future volumes, considering there's only 5 of them. It actually encourages me to go get more, so we'll see how it does. Next up we got Volume 7 of Part 3 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, featuring Darby the Elder. Go ahead, Mr. Joestar, and all of that. Oddly enough, I actually like the fight with Darby the Younger better, but that's just me. I know why people like this fight, though, because, it's really, really tense. A poker game with stands and your soul on the line, that's pretty cool, I gotta admit, but video games are just so much better. Nevertheless, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is awesome. We only got 3 more volumes of this part. I will say in particular, this volume is thick. Look at that. That is thick. I think the reason why some volumes are super, super thin and others are super, super thick for this edition is because they didn't want to cut off certain stories. So this volume, for example, ends right when Darby the Elder's story ends. They don't cut you off and make you wait months just to see how a certain story segment ends, which I think is really cool, but it also makes it that some volumes are way thicker than others, so you get what you get. Next up, we got One Piece, volume 86, and I have to say officially now that Whole Cake Island I think is my 3rd favorite arc in One Piece, my first being Thriller Bark and my second being Water 7 and Inez Lobby. Yeah, tell me what your favorite arcs are in One Piece. I'm kind of curious. But nevertheless, this arc is amazing. And hashtag my boy Gastino, no relation to Caesar Clown, is on the cover, so that's pretty exciting. And Capone is just my favorite supernova now. He is so cool. He was very, very underrated when he first appeared, but now he's definitely my favorite supernova. But nevertheless, One Piece is awesome. You guys know that already. If you can afford it, definitely support it. Next up, we got Persona 3 Volume 2, and I reviewed the first volume of this manga a long time ago on this channel. Let me say, though, if you're interested in the story of Persona, particularly Persona 3 in this case, just play the game. Don't watch the anime, don't read the manga versions of these games, just play the game. You get the best story in that game. I will say this manga is not bad. It's kind of a fun little thing to read. I'm actually replaying the game right now, although I'm replaying it as a girl this time, which has been pretty interesting. And it's nice to have on my shelf. It's fun to read, but it's definitely not the best way to experience the story. Only get this if you're a huge Persona 3 fan and a huge manga fan. Next up, hello there. Hello, all this Pluto. This is my holy grail manga. I absolutely adore Pluto, and I've held off for so long in getting it because it's just so gosh darn expensive. Each of these volumes are $13, and used, they don't really drop that low in price. But I'm like, hey, you know, it's the end of my first year teaching. I'm finally earning money, so I might as well get my holy grail, and I'm just so happy. Pluto is one of my favorite manga. If you don't know about it, it's written by Urasawa, who adapted it from Tezuka's famous Astro Boy story, The Greatest Robot on Earth. And let me just tell you, read that story first before you read Pluto. It's really not that long, and it makes the story so much better. I really got to thank my good friend Kai for sending me that Astro Boy volume so long ago, and because it really, really made my read of Pluto so much better. I will say there is a couple differences tonally, and by a couple I mean a lot. So Adam, who is Astro Boy's Japanese name, is not really the main character at first. He is later on, but it's really this guy, Gizik. I think that's how you say his name. But he appears in like a solid like one chapter of the original story, and then he gets killed like instantly. In this version, he's pretty much the main character for the first half, which is really, really interesting. And in my opinion, he's like the best part of this manga. So definite high recommendations for Pluto. If you haven't read it, really go check it out. I mean, not only does it celebrate, in my opinion, one of the greatest mangas in history, Astro Boy, but it's also just a gosh darn good time. Just as a warning, though, I'm going to pick up Volume 3 really quick. So Volume 3 was a library book previously. A lot of libraries, when they're looking to fix up some shelf space, will sell their volumes online. So this one has like a clear plastic cover with stickers and everything on it. This stuff isn't that hard to remove, and actually I'm thinking about making a video on how you can remove this stuff from used books. So Volume 1, for example, had all this stuff on there, but I've already taken it off. You can see it like almost looks brand new. Just as a warning to people, if you buy used stuff like me, if you want to save money, you're going to come into the risk of getting these kinds of books with stickers and stuff on there. So if you're comfortable with that, that's fine. But if you're not, definitely look up some guides on how to get rid of that, because it's really not that hard. Next up, we got Silver Spoon, and, well, you guys know Silver Spoon. It's that foreign manga by Hiromu Arakawa that, like, nobody reads, but everybody reads Full Alchemist. Like, I get it, Full Alchemist is a much more alluring story, but the story is so good. It's a slice-of-life manga about a bunch of high schoolers learning how to work in the agricultural field of their choice. And sounds boring, but it's really awesome. And let me just say, I teach in a rural area. I'm a first-year teacher, and this manga has taught me so much. It's really, really helped me understand some of the lives of my students and helped me connect to them a lot better. But aside from that, I mean, it's just so gosh darn good. The characters are super relatable. Some parts of the manga get like way too real for me as far as feelings are concerned. And yeah, it's great. I can't wait to read more. Next up, we got The Promised Neverland. And this, along with Pluto and Dead Demon, is my highest recommendation on this table. Like, Promised Neverland, if you're a teacher watching this or a librarian and you're looking to buy comics for kids, like, consider this. And I should say, probably middle school and above, like 5th grade and above, would be appropriate for Promised Neverland. It's a horror manga, but it's intellectual. It's really quite something beautiful. You know what really like grinds me is that there are so many people who are like, oh, we should have more women in comics, and wouldn't it be great if people supported women in comics? And I'm like, Promised Neverland, my dudes. Like, if you want to support women in comics, buy this manga. I mean, everybody is raving about The Promised Neverland. I mean, everybody's getting hype about the new anime. I'm like, literally, this is your answer, and I don't see a lot of American educators really looking to this series, so please look into it. It's incredible. Emma, in my opinion, is the best shonen main character we have right now. I mean, she's smart, she's intuitive, she is kind, she's a great leader, and Mama as a villain, which is kind of funny because we have Big Mom in One Piece, is an excellent female villain. I mean, just incredible. So check out Promised Neverland if you haven't already. I don't want to talk too much about the plot because you really should go in blind, but it's amazing. Next up, we got Star Wars Lost Stars, Volume 1, and this is based off of a novel by Claudia Gray, and let me just say, after reading this manga, I'm like, I want to check out that novel. So this is a prequel story about an Imperial officer and a rebel pilot who used to be childhood friends and used to go to the Imperial Academy together, but for some reason, the rebel pilot, like, broke away. We don't know why yet. and they're enemies now. It's really, really good, though. Something I like about this story that I feel like a lot of recent Star Wars movies haven't done well is that it takes old characters. So in this volume in particular, we get two important scenes with Princess Leia and General Tarkin, and they feel like they're characters. Like, it's really, really well written. There's this one scene where the two protagonists as children are talking with General Tarkin, and he's like a fully fledged like character. Like, and it's just really, really interesting to see a novel, well, I guess a manga in this case, get something more right than a major motion picture. So yeah, awesome recommendation. Definitely check this out if you're into Star Wars. It's amazing. Next is To Your Eternity, or as I like to call it, To You the Immortal. Amazing. Don't really want to talk about it that much. All I'm going to say is if you liked A Silent Voice, please, 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 please check out this manga. It's so good. And then finally, and I really do mean finally, With the Light Volumes 1, 2, and 3. So as you can see, I'm building a new house. These bricks are going to be great for my house. Look at these thick bricks. Just for comparison, that's like a normal volume of manga. Like, wow. And these were really, really cheap too. So they were, I think, $18 retail, but I got them used. I mean, you can see they're not exactly in the best quality for like $5 each. I mean, that's awesome. So With the Light was recommended by longtime supporter V's World of Manga. If you haven't checked her out on YouTube, definitely recommend checking out V's World of Manga. And man, I just want to like go back in time and just like slap myself silly for not checking this out earlier. I mean, she was so right. So as the cover suggests, With the Light is about a woman raising an autistic child. And really what this is it's not only a really intense dramatic story, but it's also a guide to raising an autistic child. Now, people who have autism and know those with autism would know that autism is a spectrum. Like, there's no one way to helping or supporting a person with autism, because everyone with autism is different. And they really, really drive that home in this story, but I still have learned so much. So in the past, I've worked with autistic students. Presently, I work with autistic students, and this book has been so much help. Like, I can't even tell you how much help it's been. And it's just wonderful. Like, I definitely recommend that if you do either work or you know, or you live with, or you are friends with people with autism, like With the Light it's just awesome. It's so beneficial. That being said, though, tiny bit of a problem. So these volumes get way, way more expensive as the volumes grow because, well, they didn't print as many as some of the earlier volumes with the later volumes, and oh man, it's going to be really expensive if I decide to continue this series. But I really want to read up until the part where the kid's in junior high, because that's the kind of students I work with. Oh, that would be amazing, but I just gotta have patience, gotta have the funds. That being said, though, it's an older manga, so you get a lot of like melodramatic moments with the mom where she's like, "Oh me, oh my," like, "Oh, why can't I be loved?" You know, like stuff like that. But it's, I mean, really, if you just go in knowing that historical context, knowing that it's going to have those shoujo-esque moments, you'll be fine. So thanks once again, V's World of Manga, for that awesome, awesome recommendation. Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching my video. Now I want to hear from you guys. What did you pick up these past 2 months? Leave your pickups in the comments below. I cannot wait to read what you guys picked up, especially stuff that I might not have collected myself. And since my summer break has officially begun, I'm going to have a lot more time to make videos, so expect a few coming up very soon. And until next time, this is CJ, signing off.